For a very long time, PSA and BGS stand at the forefront of grading Pokemon cards. Until recently, CGC took action and joined the ranks of PSA and BGS. Now, what do you say? Does CGC stand a chance against these two monster grading companies? Let's just talk a bit about it. What is happening, everyone? This is Mystic Fluffy here. So in this video, I'll be talking about CGC and whether they are a strong candidate to to actually take the #1 spot from PSA for grading Pokemon cards. Now let's talk a bit about CGC. So CGC, they've been around for a while, but not so much for grading Pokemon cards. They're mainly known for their comic grades, such as Marvel and DC. It was only until early last year they decided to join PSA and BGS to grade Pokemon cards and just join the higher tier of Pokemon cards being graded. So at the moment, PSA actually sit at the top level of grading Pokemon cards. If you were to choose between PSA, BGS and CGC, those three are the biggest grading companies for Pokemon cards, but unfortunately there's always one that stands more favorable or higher than the others, and that is PSA. PSA have been doing it for a while, almost since the beginning of Pokemon cards being released around, well, they entered the market for Pokemon around early 2000. They have been doing it since, so they have a very strong track record of grading Pokemon cards. People love the slabs, and they've changed their style of slab. You can tell the older PSA slabs between the newer slabs, particularly with the back and the front of the top part where they show the grade of the card. PSA, although they're not as they're more lenient than Beckett's and CGC, to be honest. Good thing about PSA is a 10 is a 10. They don't really give too many half grades. I know they do like 9.5s and 8.5s, but usually it's rounded up or rounded down to either a 9 or a 10 or an 8 or a 7. And you don't actually have to have a pristine or like almost perfect 10 for it to be a 10. If there's some small manufacturing problems, it's not up on the holder of the car, it's just the manufacturer. So they're more lenient on like centering and all that. So that's why a 10, it's not necessarily a 10 per se against like BGS and CGC. They'll probably grade it more accurately. While PSA does have that leeway, and a 10 is anyone that gets a 10 is always ecstatic with a 10. Now let's look at BGS. So BGS, they've been around in the market for a while. They're also known for sports as well, like sports cards like basketball and all that. They do give subgrades. They have subgrades in their category when they grade it. The highest level of the Beckett's is a black label. That is the best. That stands above all the grades you can get. So a 10 is just the next level. Even it's better than PSA 10. It's better than CGC pristine 10 or perfect 10. A black label is just that nice. It's very hard to grade and to get a black label 10. Not every car can get it. The pop count for it is very low. But if you do have a BGS black label, you're laughing. And that's the best grade you can get. You can get in any of the grading companies that ever existed. That's the nicest, it's the most slick, most cleanest, most pristine card you can get. And the downfall of BGS is that although it gives subgrades, it just ruins the overall score. Like you see the subgrades, like even if you get a 10, you get like 3 10s and a 9.5. It probably looks better than a PSA 10, but I personally prefer a PSA 10. Knowing that it's a 10, like everyone, people prefer to have a perfect score rather than have an imperfect score. That's just the way things are. And then BGS, they are much harsher. I should say that they're more accurate with their grading style than PSA. So a PSA 10 usually is equivalent to it could be a black label, but usually it's equivalent to like I'd say 9.5 on average. Some could be a 10, like maybe 3, probably 2 9.5s and 2 10s, probably equivalent to that level. So BGS does stand strong for its black label, but other than that, I'd still prefer a PSA over a Beckett's. Like for me, it's PSA 9. I prefer PSA 9 than a Beckett's 9. not even a 9.5. That's just my personal preference. However, a Beckett's 9 versus a PSA 9, I prefer a PSA 9 over a Beckett's 9. I still prefer a PSA 9 over a Beckett's 9.5 for some reason. I just, once you get 0.5, I find that it gets a bit messy, and then you can see like corners and then whatever grading part they actually grade, it's just, sometimes it's too drastic. Like you can get like 3 10s and like an 8.5, and the 8.5 just ruins it more, the overall grade. That's just what I believe. But Beckett's still a good, solid grading company. It still stands at the number 2 spot. Now, looking at CGC, although it's new, they have done quite well. Since they've only been around like a bit over a year, they've done just amazingly well, being the 3rd spot. Like the big 3, you know, it's PSA, BGS, and CGC. CGC also do the subgrades. You can choose. It's funny because you can choose to have the subgrades or not include the subgrades. Subgrades cost more than without the subgrades because people some people want to know the grades. CGC, it's I feel like it's a more simpler design in the overall outlook of the card. And a 10, although you can get like a perfect 10, I still prefer a PSA 10 than a CGC 10. It's just because CGC is still quite new. They haven't been around long enough. Perhaps down the track in like 5-10 years they can gain more popularity, and that could be perhaps the number 1 grading company for Pokemon cards. We don't know until later on down the track. It's just because PSA have been doing it for over a decade. They're known for the quality of the cards they produce, while CGC it's not quite there yet, and we know that, you know, once you get below like a 9 for a CGC, the quality does drop significantly for the card. Like it loses more value than a raw card. Like a raw card is almost equivalent to a 8.5 to a 9, or probably about 8.5. So a raw card versus a 8.5 CGC, almost like the same price. It's only when you get to a 9 plus, I think it's when the grades, it's more valuable than the raw price of the card. So there you have it, guys. I just wanted to give a little comparison of where CGC stands. They certainly have done well for themselves considering they've entered the market for a bit over a year. Taking the 3rd spot is no small feat, no small task. They've done well for themselves. They put their name out there. They've probably earned their respect amongst the Pokemon community and other community in the TCG world. PSA still stands at number 1. They're just next level compared to BGS and CGC. So there you have it, guys. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you think of CGC. Where do you think it stands? Do you think down the track it would actually be better than PSA? Do you think it will overtake BGS? We'll wait and find out with this. And also the reason why people are moving to CGC is also because of the return rate of the cards being returned. As a CGC give a faster return, while PSA, I think they've just been backlogged for so long. That's why they had that hiatus for a few months from May to like June. And BGS, I don't know what they're doing. They've always been behind schedule, and they're taking so long to give their cards back to people. Anyways, guys, that's my time, and as always, keep safe, stay out of trouble, and I'll see you on the next one.